Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for our first Cardano video in a little while. We're going to start things off by talking about the Vasil hard fork, talking about some of the drama that we've seen surrounding it in regards to some of the SPOs actually coming and highlighting some issues with the testnet. This kind of growing arms and legs and snowballing. However, not only sort of socially or politically has that been resolved, we also have the Vasil hard fork actually coming along very nicely, and everybody's kind of pulled together as a community and dealt with this and been very amicable. And, you know, said this for a long time, Cardano's community is in a league of its own. You know, I've been in the blockchain space or the crypto space as a kind of speculator now for nearly 5 years. And Cardano has a community, in my opinion, like no other. It's very much kind of like a family. There's toxicity in all communities, but certainly what I see on Twitter, you know, certainly when we have issues like we've had with the testnet, you know, it's great to see everybody kind of pulling together and being amicable and kind of working things out, including the very founder, Charles Hoskinson. So we will talk about that, talk about kind of what's gone on. I don't really have too much to say on either side. You know, it's not my place. I'm certainly in no position to judge anyone. And then we're going to get into the price, because I haven't made a Cardano video in a while. Lots of people, and I constantly get asked the question, you know, do you still hold ADA? You guys know that we are heavy in stable coins right now and really have been since Bitcoin was at 44K. Cardano was one of the cryptocurrencies that I actually held on to the longest. You know, we didn't really flip to a kind of bearish mentality really since $1. You know, we popped back above it, we sort of bounced off it, and then we kind of said, look, you come back down, you're in for a bit of a rough time. And really, in regards to the price of the overall market, we know what's driving it, the macro. For those of you that just watch my Cardano videos, well worth watching my daily cryptocurrency market updates, because we cover the macro, we cover the kind of period of time that we're in, and give it our market outlook. Now, that may not be the correct one, but it's just my opinion on things, and we tend to, on the bigger time frames, get things right. Calling markets day to day, you know, nobody can do that 100% right. But, you know, we do have a good hit record on the macro, and we've been bullish on ADA since 10 cents and above. All the videos are still up there. And it's a project that I actually believe in. You know, I think that there's an amazing opportunity at hand, and I'm going to say this before we dive back into the hard fork, everything that's kind of gone on with that and where we are now. But there's an amazing opportunity at hand, guys. You know, I showed you this article from Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is the third biggest bank in America. And they essentially compare crypto or blockchain to, I'll just read it. We believe digital assets are a transformative innovation on par with the internet, cars, and electricity. So we've said this from day one. Blockchain is a tech revolution, like the internet, like the PC revolution, even similar to the railroad industry. And Wells Fargo are clearly agreeing with this. And the opportunity at hand is that ultimately I do think the market is going lower, given everything that's going on. I think there's real risk for some sort of a black swan event. Doesn't have to happen, but I don't think people are pricing that risk in, certainly given everything that's going on at the moment. And that's the opportunity, because Cardano isn't going anywhere. You know, it's still a top 8 cryptocurrency, despite the sort of criticism that it receives. And it's been in the top 10 really since 2017. You know, it's not going anywhere. It's shown us that. It's got an amazing community. There's loads and loads of things going on. You know, the Vasil hard fork is still something I'm very excited about, really, because I'm excited to see what comes out of the DeFi ecosystem. We've got, I think, over 1,000 projects now. You know, many of these are going to play a role in the total value lock, the Cardano ecosystem. And thus far, we've got 12. Some of them, you could argue, don't even deserve really to be on there. But ultimately, you know, there's going to be hundreds. We're very early, as, you know, the crypto market is still very much still in infancy. It's not even accepted as an asset class yet. This is all to come down the road. And if you can hang in there and weather the storm, you know, it's currently raining. You want to be dressed in a Mac and some wellies. We will have brighter days ahead of us. It's just a case of hanging in there to get and sort of reap the rewards of that. And with the price going where I think it may potentially, I think that's going to offer an amazing opportunity, certainly for those that missed out on the 2021, 2020 bull run. So let's start off by looking at what's happened. So we had the testnet, which has been postponed quite a few times now, just simply due to them not wanting to rush things. This has always been how Cardano has done things. It's one reason I'm so bullish on ADA, because they've taken a sort of peer review approach to things. This was essentially from Adam K. Dean. Now, by the way, Adam K. Dean, I think, has started up a YouTube channel. He did a great video recently, which I'll leave a link to the description, really talking about everything. And essentially, this was the tweet that kind of kicked off all these headlines surrounding the testnet. It's important to point out today that the Cardano testnet is catastrophically broken due to a bug in Cardano node V1.352. So I don't want to read all this. You guys can go over and give Adam a follow. Essentially, this was saying that there was a real disaster with the testnet and that it was kind of unusable. Certainly going into mainnet. And essentially this kicked off a lot of things. Lots of sort of headlines surrounded this. This obviously grew arms and legs. And all it really was somebody who is obviously very passionate about the Cardano blockchain, who's been here for a long time, highlighting that there was an issue with the testnet. Testnets are there to find issues. It's not like it was the mainnet. It's very, very normal. This then sprung a load of headlines, which essentially led Charles to get kind of annoyed. You can sort of see why. But I think, you know, emotions running high. Both parties have kind of reconciled and you know, moved forward from this and are working together on the Vasil hard fork. But Charles had a bit of a rebuttal to this. I think Adam actually appeared on Dan from Crypto Capital Ventures show. And essentially they were talking about it. There was issues with the title. And the thing is with YouTube, by the way, you kind of, you know, nobody likes clickbait, even the people that use it. It's kind of a necessary tool to gain engagement. That's just how YouTube goes. You know, it's like the thumbnails. It's no different from you walking into a shop and seeing a bright red packet of Skittles. You know, that's really the kind of game that we're in. So there was a bit of an issue over this. Since then, the fix in 1.35 is successful and confirmed many other SPOs that help test. So it's looking good. And Charles Hoskinson is essentially talking about this, saying that, you know, things are moving along nicely. And everyone's kind of friends again. So the hard fork is moving along. I think we're just waiting on some SPOs and then we'll get Vasil. And, you know, there's no reason for it not to happen. Certainly this year, we did say maybe it was going to go into September. It's looking very likely, if not October. Totally fine with that. You know, certainly whilst we're in this bear market, I don't think there's any rush. I'd rather, you know, we did things the right way. Vasil's a huge deal. We've been unbelievably outspoken about what we think Jed is going to do for the Cardano ecosystem and Cardano as a blockchain. Essentially, you know, Luna's a tragedy. Okay, but what they did with their UST, things started to go wrong when they actually decided they were going to add Bitcoin to the treasury and a number of other things, and you know, we know the story that unfolded there. But what a algorithmic stablecoin does to an ecosystem is phenomenal. It literally put Luna into the top 10 based on their stablecoin, and of course we know they did things wrong. Hopefully, the stablecoins that we have, the algorithmic ones, will do things the right way. And really, you know, everything gets affected by stable coins. Mostly DEXs, of course, your lending platforms that we don't really have a great deal of yet, but that's all coming after the Vasil hard fork. This is what I mean. There's so many great projects out there that are going to be launching. And now that everyone's kind of on the same page, I don't think they ever were not on the same page. You know, things are really moving along quite nicely. So let's move on to the price. Essentially, we know the story here. You know, we are in a bear market. It's a macro-driven bear market, so things don't look so good on the kind of overall economic landscape. And unfortunately, those conditions are going to persist. You know, markets are driven from liquidity. If you look at things from a recessionary point of view, you know, recessions aren't typically where everyone's got a load of cash like what happened after March 2020 and just pumping it into markets. You've also got corporates and kind of your big banks and institutions, they're also getting squeezed on liquidity. You know, doesn't kind of, in my opinion, give a very positive outlook for markets, certainly till the end of the year, till the Fed sort of ease off, which I don't think they're going to do. I think they're going to keep their foot on the gas. a lot longer than people expect, and inflation is going to continue to stay high. We talk about this all in our daily cryptocurrency market updates, but this is going to provide an absolutely amazing opportunity. Crypto just continues to kind of snowball in terms of adoption and usage. That's the real value here. Lots of people always ask me, okay, well, what intrinsically backs these smart contract blockchains? Well, if you think about Amazon, it's the people that use it that make it valuable. They're providing a service in the same way a smart contract blockchain is providing you a service, and you can apply that to finance or whatever it may be. And this is, again, the real opportunity, referring back to Wells Fargo and this kind of article. Digital assets, a world of possibilities. And it talks about how in the future, we have the internet of knowledge, or the internet of information, which is the one we're currently talking on. And then we now have the dawn of this new internet of value. And this is where the blockchain space is going. I think we're under $1 trillion now in terms of market cap, or 1.01 trillion. So we've climbed up a little bit. There's no doubt in my mind this is going to get to the tens, if not hundreds of trillions into the future. If this space really goes where I believe it will. I think finance generally will be done on blockchain, whether that be, assets are, I think, going to sort of switch over to the blockchain. And that's a real exciting future. So we're just going to have to ride out whatever comes our way, ultimately. There are areas that we're looking at, just to put a few on very, very quickly for you. Certainly looking at this level. Potentially, now I don't think this is most probable. I think you're going to get some sort of a bid before you get down here. And then I think, for me, I think Cardano is most definitely going to probably see the lower side of 30 cents if things persist in the way that they are. Unless we see some sort of a major change, the issue for me is I think the Fed are going to move and break something, and that's going to cause some sort of a capitulation, and then maybe they have to pivot, or they kind of continue to do things, don't break anything, and we have this kind of slow bleed out of markets. But ultimately, I don't think there's any reason you don't come down into your 30 cents range again. And certainly, depending on how bad things get, remember, the price isn't really a reflection of Cardano as a blockchain. It's more a reflection of, supply and demand, liquidity. You're potentially going to, you could find yourselves coming down to these levels. Worst case scenario, not 100%. We've maintained a bias for a long time now, even though the market's been rallying really since June the 18th or June the 13th. Not just the crypto market, the S&P, a number of other things. We've maintained the bias that this is nothing more than a bear market rally. When you kind of equate the overall situation, it's very textbook. This is still a bear market until proven otherwise. And whilst I've got the actual 30 EMA up, great book wrote in regards to using the 30 EMA strategically and looking for sort of phase 1, 2, 3, or 4 market structure. This is not really where I want to be buying. I want some sort of a flattening of this EMA to take place. And there to be a number of other reasons why I get back in right now. So we still hold, and ADA is actually one of the few cryptocurrencies that I still hold, just because I'm a long-term believer. I have a stake pool and obviously want to support it in that kind of way. But we're not looking to buy here until potentially, there's that further downside. And that's, again, the opportunity that I think is at hand. If you can scoop up ADA at 30 cents, you can scoop it up at 20, you can scoop it up potentially if it goes lower, which I don't think is most probable. You're going to set yourself up in the long run if blockchain and crypto turns out to be what I think it is, what we've been saying for nearly 3 years now on this channel, and longer since we've been in the crypto space, coming into 2017. If we go the way that, this is a tech revolution, we're still yet to see it really grip hold and take over the world, so to speak. So being there for the journey and getting in at these lower prices, I think is really going to set you up for life-changing gains. And that's the opportunity. So what I'll do is I'll leave a link to Adam's Twitter and also a video that he recently did giving a bit more of an up-to-date or an update on Vasil, where it's at, and all the kind of drama themselves. I'll also leave a link again to this Wells Fargo article. I know some of you saw it on my last Cardano video, for anybody that's interested. That's all I've got for you in this video, guys. If you've enjoyed the content, a like is always appreciated, so is a comment. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in the next YouTube video. Have a smashing Monday, guys.